Hey guys, I'm presenting a deck tech that I took to my locals yesterday. It was a small locals just because of all the COVID stuff. There's only 8 people that showed up. I managed to place first. It was me, Tim, and Kyle that went. So I was playing Virtual World. And so all the Virtual Worlds, in case you don't know what their effects are, basically you target a Virtual World card using their effect, and then you special summon them by sending a different type of Virtual World card. So if you target a monster, you send a spell or a trap to special summon them, and that's all of their effects. And then there's each individual one has its own effect after that. So this one will search the third type. So if you target a trap card to special summon this, you send like a spell card, and then you can add a Virtual World monster from your deck to your hand. This one is a double Foolish Burial, Lili. So basically you'll target a monster and then you'll send both a spell and a trap. This one is your Monster Reborn Lau. So yeah, you just you can send a card and then you can Monster Reborn a Virtual World from your graveyard of a different name of the card sent. Gigi. Its effect is during the end step of the turn it was special summoned by its effect. It will add a Virtual World monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So it just kind of helps you keep with your card advantage. And you've got the exception to the rule, Yin. So its effect, it doesn't have the normal effect of them, but when it's in your graveyard, if you summon a level 3 monster, you can special summon it from your grave as a tuner, and it gets banished when it leaves the field. Also, when it gets banished, it can take one of your other banished cards and shuffle it back into the deck, so it kind of helps with recursion. So that's it for the monster package as far as the Virtual Worlds go. Then you've got your City Kowloon, which when you activate it lets you take a Virtual World continuous spell or trap and play it, like put it on the field face up directly from the deck. And then you've got your King Long, which when it's on the field, like it's not really as important, but when it's on the field, you can banish a Virtual World card from your graveyard to negate the effects of face-up monster till the end of the turn. But its main effect is when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard to add a Virtual World monster from your deck to your hand and then discard a card. So essentially you're going to want to play a monster or get the trap on field with Kowloon, and then you want to use one of your Virtual World monster effects to dump this into the grave so you can get an additional search. It's a very important combo piece, really adds to the consistency. And then you've got your trap card, which is probably one of the stronger cards of the deck, honestly. Its effect in the graveyard is you can banish it to increase or decrease a Virtual World monster's level by 3. Or when it's on the field, you can, once per turn, destroy a face-up monster by shuffling 2 Virtual World cards with different names from your banished back into your deck. That's it for the Virtual World package. So then we just have our normal cards. So we have Pot of Desires. We play 3 of pretty much everything, and Yin can recycle back. So it's just a fantastic card to run in the deck. We've got our one of Called by the Grave, one of E-Telly, because our level 3s are psychics. And we got 2 Foolish Burial Goods. It may be a neg 1, but it just adds to the consistency because you can dump the Kowloon if you have a bad hand and just search. With the Kowloon, and if you have a decent hand, you can just use the Kowloon you already dumped and discard this as fodder if you need to. So it's not usually too much of a dead draw. And then we've got our hand trap. So I played 2 Ash, 3 Nibiru, and then 3 Gammas and the Driver. The Gammas, I was a little bit hesitant because of the Pot of Desires, but if it comes down to it, you can use the Yin effect, like if you banish the Driver to shuffle it back into the deck to make it live again, or even if you don't banish it off Desires. If you've already used it once and you have another Gamma in hand, then you have the potential of shuffling the Driver back and making that Gamma live. Alright, so for the extra deck, we've got 1 Juju. Basically, I mean, most of the time, this is honestly just used as a level 6 that you can pair with your trap card to make it a level 9 or a level 3. It doesn't really do too much. Like, I mean, it has a niche effect, but it's kind of just there. We've got our draw power cards. We've got our non-tuner and our tuner level 6 draws.
I can't read what this say.
Stardust Charge Warrior, Coral Dragon. Basically, when this one leaves the field after Synchro Summon, it draws a card, and also you can discard a card to pop a card on the field. And then you've got Stardust Charge Warrior. When it's Synchro Summon, it draws, and it can attack each special summon monster one time. It comes up occasionally, but not really too much. And that's it for the level 6s. Onward to the level 9s. We've got Shin Shin, the main synchro for the Virtual World monsters. Basically, it's a Macrocosmos on field, and you can banish two different named, different type, different attribute monster from your graveyard to special summon it, except the turn it was sent there. So it's just recursion. It helps you grind out. It's a Macrocosmos on the field, which hurts a lot of decks. You've got your Vermilion Dragon mech. You've got Croco Dragon and Cloud Castle. Vermilion just banishes a tuner from your field or graveyard to pop a card on the field. Croco Dragon draws you a card, or sometimes two when it's synchro summoned. Usually just one, and you can discard 2 cards to pop something. And it's a quick effect, so sometimes that'll come into play. Not usually too often, but every now and then. Cloud Castle and a special summon, it just brings back one of your level 9 synchros. So it just really helps go into like VFD, or even sometimes you can just grab Vermilion mech, pop something, and then go VFD if you have to. So on to the Exceeds. You've got Break Sword. It's just a pop card. Sometimes you can put King Long on field if it's in your hand. Pop that, pop one of their cards, and then you have a King Long Search because it's in your graveyard. It's just a really nice card to have. You have one Jaja. If you have 2 monsters with a different, or with the same type and attribute with different names in your graveyard, after this battles a monster, you can banish it. You can also make it not be able to be destroyed by battle. It's just a really good answer to certain cards like Dragoon would be a big one. You can also just attack with it, making it so it can't be destroyed by battle, crash into one of their attack position monsters, and then go Zeus on it if you have to. So that's also a pretty good play. You've got your Utopia Beyond. It's a 3,000 attack. When it's summoned, it makes all your opponent's monsters 0, and it can attack all of your opponent's monsters once. It's a good out to Dragoon. It has the potential, depending on the setup, to just straight up OTK them if it comes down to it. And then you have Fan. I really like this card personally. I mean, you detach 2 materials from it, banish a face-up card your opponent controls on the field, and then one from either graveyard. It just has a lot of stuff. Like, it's really good against Eldritch. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the best matchup is usually Eldritch. And then we've got Gaia Dragon to overlay on top of, say, a Fan usually. So, like, you use the Fan effect, and then you go Gaia Dragon, you attack. And then I don't have it with me because it hasn't come in yet, but somebody let me borrow it for the tournament. That's supposed to be a Zeus. So basically you would just like attack with the Fan, overlay the Gaia Dragon, and then put Zeus on top of it so it has the 2 materials for the effect. And then for the final 2, we have 2 True King of All Calamities, the big boss monster of the deck. Basically you detach a material, call a type, all your opponent's monsters become that type on the field, and any card in your opponent's possession of that type can't attack, can't activate their effects. So against a lot of decks, you just call Dark, you call Fire, whatever, like Infernoble, and their deck is just shut down for the turn. They basically just straight up have to pass the turn, and usually you have the ability to OTK them right after. I think that the deck ran pretty well. It was kind of bricky. My opponents luckily bricked about as much as I did, and I managed to get out of it sooner. A lot of good games. I played against 2 Infernobles and a Pendulum Magician deck. Went undefeated. It was only 3 rounds, so not too big of a deal. But yeah, I really like how the deck played. I like the play style. I'm just hoping that VFD doesn't get banned completely on the next list so I can keep playing it. Yeah, so that is the deck.